Like Mr. Baker said before, I'm Officer Martinez, work with the Waco ISD Police Department. This is K-9 Dalton. K-9 Dalton is a 3.5-year-old Dutch Shepherd. He came from the Netherlands. I don't know if any of you know where that's at. Yeah? Anybody? Yes? 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 No? 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 Well, I'm just going to go with no. Okay. He was there until he was about 3 years old. And then in, I believe it was March, he was transferred to Louisiana, where a company that we got him from called K-9, US K-9s Unlimited, and they trained him there. I went there in August and trained with him for 4 weeks in Louisiana on all kind of stuff. I'll tell you guys about that. He is strictly a narcotics detection dog, which means he sniffs drugs, and those drugs would be marijuana, meth, heroin, ecstasy, and cocaine. He was also trained, while he was over there, he was trained in tracking. So that means when somebody takes off running or somebody escapes from prison, he can go out and sniff and basically find those people. He was also trained in handler protection. So that means he was trained to protect me. So if he thinks there's a threat towards me at all, or somebody moves towards me too fast, he will, I guess you can say attack, but he's trained to protect me. So a couple questions were brought up before that I'll go ahead and tell you now. He does live with me. He's with me 24/7. Hey, over here. He stays at home with me and my family. We try to train at least 8 hours a week. If we can, we'll do more than that. So I will open that up for questions if you have any.
What's his name?
K-9 Dalton. Yeah, he got that name when he was in the Netherlands. And so, hey, down. And so I had the option of changing his name, but he's had it for 3 years at that point, so I didn't want to change it and confuse him. So it means something over there. I'm not sure what. I'd probably have to Google it. That's a good question. Yeah, so he can tell the difference between work and play and when he's at home. But when he is at home, we try to, I guess, limit how much we socialize with him because it can throw him off, and he basically turns into a regular pet if we socialize with him too much. So we don't socialize too much at home, but when he's at home, he's basically a pet. But like I said, we don't do it too much. Good question. He is mostly Dutch. He knows a few English commands. I believe the other class I told he knows sit and lay down. He knows a few other ones that I can't really think of right now, but most of his commands are in Dutch. I've had him, like I said, since August, September. And I plan to keep him until he retires. He's going to be with me after he retires. So they have a life expectancy of 12 to 14 years, I believe it is. And so he still has a while, so hopefully he'll work a lot longer. And so like I said, once he retires, he comes home with me. Yeah, I won't tell y'all what. I won't go into those details, but while he's been here, he has found stuff. He's done what he was trained to do. I'll say that. Like I said, we only use him for narcotics detection. We don't use him for anything else. If another agency around here, like Waco PD or Belmead or any county or any city in the county, in McLennan County, if they call us out, we can definitely go help them. So when he was born in the Netherlands, he was immediately put to work, I guess you could say. As soon as he could walk, sniff, train, do whatever, he started training. So from the time he could do that up until he left, I want to say it was April or March, he left the Netherlands and he came to Louisiana. He's been training his whole life. And so he's only 3.5 years old. And even when we came here, like I said, told you guys earlier, we try to train as much as we can. So he's pretty much been training his whole life. Yeah, I was with him for 4 weeks, basically a month. Our first week there, we did bonding. And so that's where me and him get used to each other, play with them. Because I told the other class, if you don't have a good bond with your K-9, you and him will not have a good relationship as far as work. He won't work for you as well. He won't listen to you as well. So you definitely have to have a good relationship with your dog if any of you plan on becoming K-9 or a police officer later on. So, like I said, if that's not a good relationship, it won't be a good K-9, I guess you can say. This is my first K-9, and this is his first job as well. And so it's new to both of us, I guess you could say. Not with us. Like I said, when he was in Louisiana and the Netherlands, he tracked. And so he can do it. We just won't use him for that. So technically, no, he hasn't tracked anybody for work. Oh man, that was another week. My main language is English. And so learning those commands, there's 30 different commands. We don't use all of them. But I had to learn all 30 of those before I was even able to come home with him. So it was definitely a difficult task. And so he didn't know English before I got him. So it was definitely difficult for him to learn those languages as well. I had to train with him constantly on that. He's on a nutrition schedule. If he's working, he's not sleeping, but he knows when it's time to sleep. He eats once a day. He eats 5 cups of food a day. And I also add like a little protein powder thing made for dogs, and I add that to it. But that's it.
So he eats once a day?
Once a day.
At what time?
After work. So with these dogs, it's a good question you brought that up because I didn't bring it up to the last class. These dogs, especially shepherds in general, they can get a condition called bloat. And so if they're hyper or they've done a lot of work through that day and they start eating, it can mess up their stomach. It basically causes their stomach to flip upside down and their stomach becomes bloated and they can actually die from it. And so that's why their nutrition is very limited as far as what they eat and when they eat. No, when he retires, he is going to go home with me and just be a regular old house pet. Before, they just passed a law in Texas to where any canine handler can take their dog home with them after they retire. Before, the dog was basically considered surplus, and so they had to be sold off or auctioned or donated to another agency or company or whatever. And so a lot of handlers weren't able to take them home. But like I said, that's changed, and so once he retires, he's going to go home with me. So a dog's nose is, I don't know the exact number, but I'm going to say 100 times more powerful than a human nose. And so I told the last class, so if you were to sit there and make a pizza, we would all just smell the pizza combined, all the ingredients combined. He can sniff out an individual ingredient. He can smell them all separately. So he can smell the pizza sauce by itself, the pepperoni by itself, the cheese. If there's garlic on the crust, he can smell the garlic by itself. And then say there were 1,000 people outside and we took one of those people's jackets and let him smell it. He could smell all 999 of those other people, but if he, like I said, if he smelled that jacket, he would only smell that person and not the other 999 people. So that's how powerful their nose are. I didn't tell y'all either. We got K-9 Dalton from a grant from US K-9s. I'm sorry, K-9 for Cops. They're a company based out of College Station, and they basically get a whole bunch of different donations, and they're able to buy dogs for different police departments. And so they're the ones who sent us to Louisiana to pick up Dalton and train with him. No, not really. Like I said, we trained for a while. And even when we came back here, we held off on showing him to the public because we were trying to get him used to everybody. And so we were pretty much used to working together. So all the nerves kind of went away. Now when I went to go train with him, I was nervous wreck. But like I said, that kind of went away. Our bond is pretty good, so I know how he works and he knows how I work. And so we kind of just work off each other. No, he stays at home. With Waco ISD, if I want to use him, it has to be on their dime. And so we only use him while I'm on the clock. So if another agency were to call me while I'm off the clock, we could not do it because Waco ISD would have to pay me to do that. And so when I'm off the clock and I go work second jobs or anything, he stays at home with my wife and daughter. I don't think I've told you about when he, over here, alerts. But if he finds something, he is trained to sit. And if it's something really strong, then most of the time he'll bark at me. No, so the main three, I guess you could say, for law enforcement are, number one is German Shepherd, two is a Dutch Shepherd, which he is, and then they have a third one called a Belgian Malinois. And so those are the three main dogs used for law enforcement. if you use a Belgian Malinois, those are mainly used for tracking and biting dogs because they have a lot of energy, I guess you can say, and they're really active. He's an all-around dog. I mean, he can pretty much do everything. Like I said, his training, he's done tracking, biting, drugs, and German Shepherds, they're kind of the same way. They use them for everything, but those are a lot bigger dogs, so you kind of have to take them easy on them because their hips can give out just because they have so much weight on them. They do. Our last K-9 Jero, who Lieutenant Freeman, I believe I talked to you about, he had a German Shepherd, and he came from Afghanistan where he served, I think it was 4 years over there as a personal protection dog and narcotics dog. And so there definitely are military dogs. And a lot of law enforcement actually gets their canines from militaries. Once they retire from the military, they'll come to the U.S. and train to be police dogs.
Is the dog active after any experience?
They can. So like our last K-9, he was not a very sociable dog, I guess you could say, just because the environment he was in before was really hostile. And so he was put through a lot, I guess you could say. And so he would not be as friendly as this one is. So it just depends on the dog and the situation he was in. So I'll do a few like sit and lay down, and I'll tell him to stay, and I'll probably make him bark. But other than that, he won't do anything else because, like I said, those are really working commands. Hey, hey, sit. No, sit. Off. Hey, blijven. Blijven means stay pretty much in Dutch. So he's not supposed to move. Hey. Blijven. Blijven. And so I can move all around, and he's not supposed to move. Hey, here. Hey, hey. Loud. 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 Good boy. Good boy. Yeah. Forget the miles that he can run. I think it's almost up to 25 miles an hour, and it's pretty fast for him because he's pretty agile, and so pretty fast. You're not getting away if that's your case. If he's chasing you, you won't get away. With those type of dogs, you have to train those dogs really early. Like same instance with him from a puppy. I'll go ahead and give y'all a personal, I guess, issue in my life. My daughter is blind, and so right now we have a dog for her that's being trained right now, and they started since he was a puppy. He's going to be a Labrador, and so with those dogs, I mean, they're trained to assist in any kind of ways, crossing streets, all kinds of different stuff. So you have to start real young with him. And so like him, he couldn't go. He probably could go into that line of work, but it'd take a while. I mean, most dogs' noses are pretty strong. I'm sure more dogs have a stronger nose. It's going to depend on the dog. But they usually use shepherds because they have a higher energy. And so if they have a higher energy, they're more prone to work better just because they want to work. Like I said with him, once this little harness or vest comes on, he knows it's time to work. And so once it comes off, he knows it's, I guess, playtime, you could say. And so when he's in that work mode, he's more prone to work better or sniff better, I guess you could say. He's more attentive. Yeah, I'll probably be a little bit more lax with it. I'll probably feed him at least twice a day because he won't be working. What was that?
So after he retires, will you still train him?
No, once he retires, he is done. He'll just be, like I said, a stay-at-home dog. Jealous? Not really. Actually, when I go home, he tends to forget about me, and he goes straight to my wife. Like he's just a big baby with her. So I think I tend to get jealous of him. So, but no, as far as that, no, he doesn't really get jealous. He will never be in that situation, or I'm going to try not to let him be in that situation. He's only with me when we're doing stuff like this or we're doing searches. And so hopefully that situation never comes up because it won't be good for whoever is around. But no, if a situation comes up where he needs to be put up, he's going to get put up because we don't want that to happen. Good question. I brought that up in the last class. He is allowed to breed. But that's only going to happen once he retires, and he can only breed with another Dutch Shepherd because his bloodline is pure, I guess you could say, is what they told me. And so I'm only allowed to breed him. Yeah, I'm only allowed to breed him with another Dutch Shepherd. Well, his reward, or his, I guess, yeah, I'm gonna say reward is the ball. And so once he's doing what he's supposed to do, I reward him, and he knows that's when it's good to sit there and play around.
All right.
All right, let's give him a round of
Thank
applause.
you.
All right, guys, thank y'all. I appreciate it. We're gonna come this way. Loud, loud, loud. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah.